Well, joining us now is Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin along with Mark McPherson.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. And you were mentioned in the story, and making sure women are participating in politics is actually something that you've been pushing for.
Absolutely. Well, first I'd say we are best governed when our legislative bodies reflect the makeup of America and the makeup of our state. And so, but I also think that women bring a different approach to some of the challenges. As Senator Schilling was mentioning, we tend to be the ones who balance our families' budgets, who make certain decisions about health care and education. And I think we have a special approach to solving problems. I know the women in the Senate, on a bipartisan basis, all 20 of us regularly get together, work across the party aisle, and we listen. And so I think those are reasons why you want our state legislatures to look like the states they represent, which means they should have at least half women.
Why don't we have at least half women?
Well, I think there's been obstacles over the history of time. Women haven't had the right to vote since, as long as men have. I have to tell you, my grandmother who raised me was born before women had the right to vote and lived long enough to see her granddaughter elected to the House of Representatives. But there's other reasons that have meant that fewer women stand forward and run. But this year, as was noted in your story, we have a really amazing group of candidates who are standing up, running for Senate across the nation, for governor, for attorney general, and for state Senate and state assembly in the state of Wisconsin. I've worked with many of them. I think this is a very impressive group of women.
As Mary Burke mentioned, that it comes down to the issues and what people care about as well. One of the issues that you have been addressing recently is you sent a letter to the Secretary of Transportation talking about rail safety and rail upgrades in the area. Why don't you talk about that a little?
Absolutely. Well, every time I visit a community that is traversed by freight rail, especially in western Wisconsin, right along the Mississippi River, I have heard volumes of concerns, especially as rail traffic has increased dramatically, bringing Bakken oil from North Dakota to the Gulf. And recently there have been some rules regarding rail safety promulgated at the federal level, but I think they don't go far enough. And so I've joined with Ron Kind in a strong letter to the Secretary of Transportation asking that those rules be made even more stringent, more strict, to protect the safety of people along the railway.
Some of the things you asked for: standardizing of the oil, or stabilizing of the oil, tank car standards, operational controls, increased transparency. Can these trains be made safe enough to roll through communities like La Crosse?
They can be made a lot safer than they are right now. The DOT 111 is the car that is used right now to transport Bakken oil. There's a lot of concerns that it isn't up to par for what's being demanded of it in terms of transporting Bakken oil. We think that the standards should be much higher and that the demand should be much sooner for those DOT 111s to be traded out and new cars to be replaced. We think that science should lead the decisions about train speeds, about what sort of impacts need to be withstood, and we certainly think communities have the right to know.
All right, it's an important issue, but we're out of time. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. Lisa.